Hey everyone. Hello. I hope you are well today. It is Monday the 4th of May, and this is AMs with Annette. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm just going to make sure that I can pull up the chats and everything so that I can see any questions that come in. If you're watching the replay, give me a hashtag replay in the comments. And if you are tuning in live, do give me a hello. Let me know that you are here. I would love to come and say hello to you. So do let me know that you are here if you are tuning in live so that I can come and say hello to you. And let's pull up all the streams of comments and things everywhere where they are happening so that I can see. Hello, David. Hello, The Scottish Alchemist. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you are all very well this morning. So this session, for those of you that don't know, is my coronavirus and UK business update. I am sharing all things around that, around the government, around banks, all those kinds of things, around the economy, all that kind of stuff. So if you have not tuned in before, my name is Annette Ferguson. I'm CEO of Net & Co, UK-based accounting firm. I am a chartered accountant, certified profit first professional, and I help business owners take home more money from their businesses. Of course, at the moment, that is incredibly challenging for many business owners, and that is why I am going live every single weekday at 11 to support you both during this time and, of course, beyond with your business. So any questions that you have as we go along, please do ask in the comments. I am more than happy to answer those, so please do let me know. Also, if you usually join my lives and you know that I'm going to be sharing some good value, I would massively appreciate if you want to share this live out to your friends, your followers, your connections, whichever platform you are on, whichever terminology is used. I also, as always, really do appreciate the thumbs up, the likes, the hearts, again, whichever platform you're on and whichever method is used there, I do appreciate it. Reese, I can see that you've hopped on. Thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate it. Hello, Jen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hello, Gamesy. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate you all hopping on live this morning. So, as always, I have some notes here to refer to so that I make sure that I cover everything that we need to cover in today's session. First off, bounce back loans. Bounce back loans opened up this morning for applications. Hello, TikTok Queen. How are you? Bounce back loans opened up this morning for applications. We have heard some people have managed to submit their applications already. The report is saying that it's very easy to apply. It is based on your 2019 turnover, and the maximum lending is 25% of that turnover. The lending amounts are between £2,000 and £50,000. You must have been trading as at the 1st of March 2020 in order to be able to apply for that loan. The interest rate has been confirmed at 2.5%. And these loans are 100% guaranteed by the government. But it's really important to note that the banks will chase the borrowers in the first instance. So if there is default, the banks will chase the borrowers in the first instance in the normal way. This does not completely get you out of any accountability for paying back a loan. They will do that. So it's important to note as well that with these bounce back loans, there are no repayments, fees, or interest charges to be paid during year 1 of the loan. It is after that time period, so month 13 essentially, that you would start making repayments onto that loan. There are a number of lenders who have been initially allowed to be lending. Those are just a small handful, so I'm going to let you know who they are, and I'm going to let you know whether or not you need to be a customer to get a loan from them, because we're being told in the first instance, if you want to apply for a bounce back loan, the first instance you should apply via your bank if your bank offers those loans. A number of banks, however, do not. And some of the banks that are offering bounce back loans are stipulating that you need to be a customer. So I want to go through that with you so you understand what your options are there. Hello, Leora. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much, Sean. I can see Tyrone. Thank you so much, everyone who is tuning in. I do appreciate you tuning in. Like I said, if you are getting value from what I'm sharing, please do share this out to your networks as well, so that other people can come and understand what is going on at the moment as well. So the first bank that is doing bounce back loans is Barclays. There is no mention through Barclays of having to be a customer with them. So if your bank does not offer it, Barclays may be one to try. Clydesdale Bank, they are saying that they will be offering it to new customers. However, they're not set up to do that yet. So at the current time, they're only offering to current customers. However, they intend to introduce the ability for non-customers to apply through them, but that doesn't look like it will happen today. Danske Bank is another one who is offering bounce back loans. They're actually not providing any details yet. It doesn't seem like their online system is available at the moment, even though they have been listed as one of those banks that is offering bounce back loans. Doesn't look like you can apply online via their website at the moment, though. NatWest are offering that you have to be an existing customer to access the bounce back loan via NatWest. That is one of the eligibility criteria they currently have on their website. Santander, they say that you need to have a business current account with them, but they put you straight through to a link where you can apply for that. So it looks like with Santander, you would be able to apply to open up an account with them, and then it may take a handful of days, potentially. You would then be able to apply for a bounce back loan through them. RBS at the moment, you also need to be an existing customer, and Ulster Bank also need to be an existing customer. So if you are not a customer of one of those banks and you want a bounce back loan, remember, it's worth remembering that loans should be strategic. Loans are things that do require to be paid back. Therefore, you do need to do a full cash flow assessment, so that after this 12-month period, can you afford the repayments on the loans? Make sure that you're really clear on what that looks like, and make sure you discuss that with your accountant as to what that looks like for your business and if this is a good strategy for you at the moment or not. The loan should not be taken if you are in a mass panic situation. It needs to be strategic and it needs to be thought through. You need to understand that it has to be paid back. Therefore, please understand that if you're applying for the bounce back loans today or in the future as well. We expect the lenders to be extended to all those banks that are at least currently able to offer the coronavirus business interruption loan scheme, and potentially other banks I have heard as well, and other lenders are wanting to be able to offer these too. So we expect in the next few days and weeks the number of lenders to be extended as it was when the coronavirus business interruption loan scheme first set up, and the number of lenders was small to start and then expanded more. So we expect that as well. Now, the British Chamber of Commerce have turned around and said that 30% of their members could not afford to pay back loans. This is, of course, the big worry, that people are being offered loans because they have no other way of accessing funding. I'm going to speak about some of that later on, but they feel like they have no other way of accessing funding, and therefore are going to end up in a default position. And like I said, banks will chase borrowers in the first instance in an event of default. It will not go straight to the government. The borrower will be chased first of all. So it's important to remember that and understand that situation as well. Next up, the self-employed scheme, the SEISS. This is the scheme to support business owners who are self-employed, and they can claim 80% of their taxable, trading profits average from the last 3 years as a grant, up to a maximum of $2,500 a month. Under this scheme, you will be sent a letter if you are potentially eligible to claim under this scheme, and it will have the next steps in it. The letters are going to start coming out this week for that. So if you are self-employed, watch your letterbox, because the letters are going to start coming out this week on that. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Louise. Thank you, Michelle. I really appreciate you joining me. Thank you, Joe, as well. Thank you, Ollie. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, everyone who is joining, whichever platform you are on. I do appreciate you tuning in. So thank you so much for that. I do very much appreciate it. Thank you, Osman, as well. I do very much appreciate it. No, I don't know anything about students at all, Osman. This is all about business and coronavirus support, so do not know about students at all, unfortunately, for you there, Osman. So, a third of small companies, it has been reported, could stop buying business interruption insurance. I've spoken before about the issue that business interruption insurance is not being paid out. I spoke, I think it was on Friday, about the case that's getting taken to court with standard policy wording in it to try and speed up any potentially allowable claims under business interruption insurance as well. And we're hearing that a third of small companies could stop buying business interruption insurance because of the controversy over it, especially those in the leisure and hospitality sector who are saying that without the insurance claims coming through, they are more than likely to go bust at this point in time. That was the entire purpose of them taking something like business interruption insurance, was so that did they have to close their doors for some reason, it would pay out. And of course, we are not seeing insurers paying out at the moment. That is primarily because the insurers are saying they're going to go bust if they have to pay out all these policies in a one-er, with their own assessments. They probably would have never envisaged that every single business with an interruption insurance policy may have required a payout at the same time. We hear the words unprecedented and things all the time, but it's very, very true in this case that the insurers would never have envisaged that that was a situation, and that's causing a massive, massive problem for them too. We've also seen some outlined rules for workplaces once lockdown starts to get eased. They've kind of come out with some draft information on that. They are saying that office workers should be working from home for a number of months to come, primarily to prevent overwhelming on the transport system as well as other things too. We're saying that hot desking is to be curtailed. Canteens would stay closed. Lifts would have to be kept at half capacity at max. Staggered shifts to keep employees apart, both whilst working and at break times. Avoiding sharing supplies like pens, staplers, those kinds of things. No face-to-face meetings. If dealing with customers, there should be plastic screens up as well. And more parking in certain places to avoid people having to lift share. So a number of things that are being suggested and outlined for working practices once we start to see an ease in the lockdown, but bearing in mind that they're saying that office workers should be working at home for a number of months to come. This is going to be really interesting and how they balance this with schools going back and work going back and those kinds of things. It's not going to be an easy task to work out how all those things slot together. Businesses are also going to have to undertake COVID-19 risk assessments to ensure that they can keep their employees safe at all times and in line with social distancing measures. This is going to potentially be costly for businesses as well. This is potentially another cost that businesses are going to have to bear at this time if they have to pay to do risk assessments or anything like that. So that's something to bear in mind too. Now, if you have any questions, please do let me know in the comments. I'm going to just take a quick sip of my tea. There we go. And do let me know questions in the comments. Like I said, if you do enjoy what I share and you do get value, please do share this broadcast out to your connections, to your friends, to your likers, to all those things, so that other people can benefit as well. I would massively appreciate that. So the next thing we have to speak about today is there are landlords are in talks to what they're calling furlough shops and restaurants. This has been proposed under something that is called the Furloughed Space Grant Scheme. And it's a model that's been successfully run in Denmark, which is why it is being considered in the UK. And the basic summary of it is that the tenants would still have to pay some rent. Landlords would agree to a rent reduction, and then the government would contribute to fill the gap in the middle. So it's kind of everybody coming, everybody giving up a little bit, basically, and coming to an agreement. Now, it's really interesting that this has been successful in Denmark. We know in Denmark, in their politics, they're much more about agreement, and they're much more about coming together as groups and collaborating and finding positive ways forward. We're less like that in the UK overall, generally, in politics and for many business situations. So it's going to be really interesting to see if this system, which works in a different culture, is going to be able to be transferred into the UK or not. Under the system, it would be a rent reduction. It would not be a rent deferral. So it would not be that you'd have to pay, the rest at some point in time. It would be a rent reduction. So incredibly useful for many businesses. But we will see. What comes out of that. It's just a proposal at this stage. Nothing has been actually formally agreed at this stage, so it is just a proposal. But it's worth keeping an eye on if you have a shop, if you have retail space, if you have a restaurant, if you have a pub. It's worth keeping an eye on that, because that may potentially be something that is going to come in, and I will let you know on these on my daily lives when it does. For those of you who are just tuning in, this is AMs with Annette. This is the UK coronavirus and business update, my daily live show, which happens every day at 11 a.m. UK, where I am covering all the latest topics around UK's business and coronavirus, whether that be the economy, things the government has announced, banking, all those kinds of things that affect UK businesses just now. So the next thing I want to speak about are some discretionary funds that have been released. So there are funds now available for businesses via local authorities. These are basically discretionary grants. They're up to the local authorities as to who they pay. However, the local authorities have been asked to prioritize businesses in shared spaces, regular market traders, small charity properties, and B&Bs. These are basically businesses whereby they were not able to claim under the other grants that were available for businesses with properties. Therefore, they have been asked to prioritize these businesses in this. The local authority may choose to make payments to other businesses based on local economic need, and it's got the complete discretion of the local authority. There are 3 levels of grants that they can issue: less than £10,000, a £10,000 grant, and a £25,000 grant that has been made available to local authorities. So if you're in one of those areas, if you operate out of a shared space, you're a regular market trader, operate out of a small charity property, or running a B&B paying council tax, it is worth asking and speaking to your local authority about support as to whether any of these discretionary funds might be available for your business. So worth checking with them on that. We are speaking again about a V-shaped bounce back versus a deep U-shaped recession. For those of you that regularly tune into these updates, you will know my view is that we are going to be in a U-shaped recession, and the talks of bounce back seem incredibly optimistic, and in reality, probably quite unlikely. For example, we are not seeing China in a V-shaped bounce back. They are going into recession. We are not seeing that happening in China. The airline industry have also come out and said that they're not expecting anything other than hibernation until 2022. So it would be really hard to see how we could bounce back and have a V-shaped recovery when, for example, those things that I spoke about, the workplace, things that are going to have to come into place, people social distancing for a long time, potentially, how we can then marry up that with an economic recovery would seem challenging, to say the least. And that follows on to what I want to speak about next, about retail as well. So M&S recently announced that they scrapped their final dividend, saying there was unlikely to be one next year due to a highly uncertain trading in a prolonged exit period. They are not very optimistic about what the future might hold over the next while. There's also a Mori poll which said that 43% of Britons would feel uncomfortable shopping in anything other than supermarkets at the present time. And a SEP survey had over a quarter of respondents say the crisis would permanently change the way they shop. So people are thinking about adopting different habits around shopping. And retail is going to be hit quite severely by that. We've already heard of a number of retailers that have gone under. We've already heard of a number of retailers with problems at the moment, and a number who are not paying their rents at the moment. So there's a lot of problems existing in that retail space that is going to impact over the long haul, and is going to, let's face it, impact in terms of any recovery, and most likely end up contributing to that deep U-shaped recession as well. We have senior retail executives saying the 3 to 5 million people currently furloughed, a lot are unemployed. They just don't know it yet. This feeds back to what I mentioned. I think I started mentioning it at least 2 weeks ago, saying that there was reports that those on furlough were essentially the hidden unemployed, and what happens once we come out of furlough. We've heard again of those transitional period measures that the Treasury is discussing. I think it was Thursday or Friday I spoke about those. But there is potentially going to be a vast swathe of people at some point that end up unemployed. Of course, that is going to affect spending, that is going to affect recessions, etc., if we do have millions of people suddenly jumping into unemployment. And experts are claiming that there's going to be a chain of retail business failures as a result of all of these things combined together. So let me know if you have any questions. I'm just going to check the streams to see if we have any questions here. Good old TikTok. Most days on TikTok, I get asked if I am married or have a boyfriend. No, I don't have a boyfriend because I have a husband. I am happily married. Thank you. Let's have a look. Do we have any questions? None there. I'm just checking out all the streams to see if we have any questions coming through. If there is anything that anyone has been asking, do let me know in the comments if you have questions on anything we've covered today or anything else that we have been covering around coronavirus and UK business. Michelle's giving me a yes, please. Michelle, if you have a question, do let me know. Although we are actually speaking later. Michelle is a beautiful client of mine, so we have a call. You missed the bit on bounce back loans. Let me revisit the bounce back. Let me revisit the bounce back stuff. So the loans opened this morning, and first reports are coming in that it is easy to apply. It's based on your 2019 turnover with a maximum of 25% of turnover as the amount that you can borrow. The interest rate is 2.5%, and businesses must have been trading at the 1st of March 2020 and not be undertaking in difficulty. There are 7 banks that currently offer the loans, many of who you have to be a customer. The banks include Barclays, Clydesdale, Danske Bank, NatWest, Santander, RBS, and Ulster Bank. But those banks that you do not need to be a customer of are Barclays. Clydesdale is saying that they are setting up the system for people who are not customers, but that has not yet been done. And Santander are saying you need to hold a current account with us, but here's the link to apply. So it looks like that can be quite a straightforward, hopefully, process with them. Worth reiterating as well that if you do take a loan, it needs to be strategic. You do have to start repaying it after 12 months. Therefore, understanding the cash position and understanding the cash flow at that point in time is going to be important to make sure that you have the funds to be able to do that. Michelle's saying, can it be used to replace existing loans? I haven't seen anything that says it can't be, Michelle. This is a really interesting question. A lot of people are asking, can I use this to consolidate? Because there's a 2.5% is a good rate for borrowing. So can people use it to consolidate and replace existing loans? We are not 100% sure yet. There is nothing explicitly saying it cannot, but we haven't seen the T's and C's for each individual bank. So I have been looking at that detail, and there's nothing explicit out there for any of the banks. Now, they may have it in their small print when you come to actually physically sign, but there's nothing that is showing at the moment that says that you could not use this to consolidate. And let's face it, people will. If you get cheaper lending, that is what people are going to do. You just have to make sure that in any other loans, you don't have early repayment fees, what those look like, whether those are offset with a lower interest rate, and those kinds of things. So, any other questions? Any other questions that you may have? I can see, Michelle, that you're laughing at me getting asked most days if I am married or have a boyfriend. It is it's very lovely. It's very flattering. But yes, it's I am happily married, so we're all good. Any other questions that you have? Anything about UK business, coronavirus support, the government support, the economy, the banks, anything like that, please do let me know in the comments. And I am just going to check to see if we have any questions that have come on as well, so that we can, so that I can answer any of those that might be existing. I think I've covered all the comments. So this is my daily live stream happening weekdays at 11 a.m. Each weekday at 11 a.m. Wherever you might be watching this is wherever I am. So we are live every day on Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and in the Uncover Wealth community. The Uncover Wealth community is my private Facebook group. It is for business owners, and I would love if you want to join me in there. You can just go to Facebook and search Uncover Wealth community in the search bar to find that. Come on in and join us. We have I have exclusive trainings that happen in there every single week. And that is the first place that I announce anything that gets announced, anything that I hear of in way of support from the government or anything like that. The Uncover Wealth community is the absolute first place that I announce those things. So do hop in there so that you can be the first to know, and you know, I can share that information with you as well. We have somebody saying that they're Norwegian and Norway is opening up again. Yeah, there are a few countries that are opening up again. It will be interesting to see what happens with their economies. As I said, China is not seeing a V shape. It's not seeing a bounce back at all. So it will be interesting to see what happens there. And yeah, absolutely. We are concerned about a second wave of infections when we open up. Yeah, exactly. And, you know, we heard a few days ago that with a second wave, they're worrying that there would be an even greater hit to the economy than if we stayed in this state for longer. So that's a real juggle as well in terms of decision making for the government and the Treasury combined as to what actually happens there in reality. Exactly. And a second wave could be bigger than a first. So we might end up with, you know, even bigger financial issues going forward too if we open up too soon versus if we stay in this and the financial issues that are there. So it's really very, very difficult. Good morning, Melvin. Thank you so much for joining me. So I am back tomorrow, same time, same place, 11 a.m. weekdays, all over the internet, basically. 11 a.m. weekdays, wherever you are watching this, you'll be able to see me again tomorrow. Coronavirus and UK business support for AMs with Annette. So please do mark it in your diaries for each weekday so that you can hop in and get the latest information available. I would love to see you tomorrow. I would love to see you here. So thank you so much for joining me today. I do appreciate your time as always. If you do like what I share, please do share it out with your friends, your connections, your followers, your fans, all those kinds of things, depending on the name that is given in whichever platform you are in. And I will see you all again tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.